Okay, hey there. Hello, hello, what a walk. Time for water. Time for water. Okay, here we go. Really slow now. Really slow. It's okay. And there. Cheers. Launcher. Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. How's it going? Okay. I'll be back in a sec. Stay with me. Hey, how's it going? Woof. Whoop, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What should I use? I guess I'll hold it in my left. How's it going? Okay, so what's going on? What's going on? Ooh. Well, it's another beautiful day, but they're all going to be like this for, well, we're into January now, so it'll be another month of this really cool weather, probably, and then February you'll still get some cool mornings and stuff. It'll start to warm up. Middle of February should start to warm up, and then March will start getting the hot season. So the summer, quote unquote, here is April, really. March, April, May are I'd say the hottest months. So it gets really hot. All you Canadians out there who think 30 degrees is hot, right? Like right now, it's the cool season and we're practicing kendo at 30 degrees, right? It's like, oh, it's so great and cool. I don't have to drink so much water. Like when it's hot, man, I'll for sure go through 2 liters of water, and I usually jazz up. I have 4 half-liter bottles, and that are insulated, so they're cool. I usually jazz up one of those bottles with like 2 or 3 electrolyte packets. And that was amazing. As soon as I discovered that, cool water, electrolytes, everything changed, right? Because for a long time I was practicing, especially when it was really hot, and like getting faint and having to stop, and I thought, wow, it's so weird. You know, I'm in decent condition, right? I mean, I hike in the mountains a lot, and at the time I was hiking all over the mountains, right? I'm no marathon runner, but I'm okay, right? For my age or whatever you want to call it. But kendo would be like, whoa. And then I figured out it was really about hydration, you know. And I agree with Andy Fisher, has Kendo Star, and also does these wonderful videos. And he was talking about hydration on one of his kendo rants, and he was saying you need to hydrate before your practice, mostly. And I agree with that completely. So what I do is I go in at 2:30. I do my warm-up, which is, I do a lot of floor stretching, that not just stretching, but release stuff that I learned from friends in Toronto, like dancer friends, like Grace Miyagawa, Susanna Hood. Mostly picked up stuff from those two, especially Grace, because I used to take a mitzvah class with her. Anyway, so I go there on 2:30 to do that. Then I do some more like Subudhi practice, usually around 3 or so. Do some stretch, you know, I take an hour basically to get limber. I kind of need that. And then Lee comes in, and usually we're going at 3:30 and for an hour to an hour and a quarter. And then the kids' practice starts at 5, so it's another hour there. That's a pretty long period, a stretch of time, right? And I'm usually there at 2, so I'm really there for 4 hours. Anyway, so I drink 2 liters of water, most of that before, and yeah. What am I going on? Oh, because this is a water walk. Water is important, as it turns out. Hey, anyway, I gotta, it'd be nice when I don't have to, ooh, wow. The light. Anyway, it'd be nice when I don't blab on about the stupid, I'm mostly talking about Canadians, right? I don't really go on about the Thai politics around the virus. I mean, for a couple of reasons, but partly because the real nutcases aren't here. They're in freaking Canada and Australia, New Zealand, right? It's like Trudeau and what's her name, Jacinda? Justin and Jacinda, man, they should get married. They're just off the charts. Anyway, so I guess my little ranty bits now are about Trudeau. He's ramping up the unvaccinated thing, right? Like he's calling them, like he's saying things like, how, or should we tolerate them? And you know, they're, it's they're slightly tempered words, but not really, you know. Anyway, there's a few apologists that I know back in Canada that, oh well, he didn't really say that. And it's like, no, he's saying that, you know. And then there's another recent one. Anyway, so two things. One thing is that he could be on his last legs, right? He knows it, and because he's a fool, he's just doubling down, right? He's just getting harder and stuff. And that could well be it, right? And because the population in general, perhaps, is sort of going, hang on a second, Jesus, this is enough. Or it could be that he's setting things up. And two friends said both, one friend said one angle and one friend said another on this little sort of chat group we have. And I agree with them both, the possibility. The other possibility is he's setting things up, so he's manipulating the populace to get ready to blame everything on, because Canada's like all those Western countries are, the case rate, whatever, is just skyrocketing. And at this stage, some of them are almost all Omicron, and Canada's, I don't know, maybe half or a bit more, but soon it will probably be overtaken. Anyway, so who knows what they've got up their sleeve, right? So they could, anyway, they're getting ready to blame the unvaccinated, right? And it's really obvious that at the moment, if you're vaccinated, good for you, but it's not going to help you at the moment. It doesn't look like it's going to do much. Especially if, like, most people got vaccinated back in the Canadian spring, early summer, right? It's at this stage, it's just pointless. But then a lot of people over there are getting their boosters and all that stuff, and here some are getting boosters and whatever. But anyway, so you could be setting things up for the possibility of stuff that Geert Vanden Bossche talks about, which is antibody-dependent enhancement and selective evolutionary pressure, creating a real mess. And so if that happens, you better bet your booty that the Trudeaus of the world are going to blame a certain group of people. You know? And we all know who that's going to be. The thing is, that's not going to if you want to lay blame, it's probably better not to do the blame game. But if you're going to go with concerns of Vanden Bossche and that it's really the people mass vaccinating that create the selective pressure, which then can lead to different variants, etc., etc. Right? Anyway, so that's about it for that. Let's wait and see. It's gonna be. Oh, I've been saying like, oh, it's gonna be an interesting few months. And it has been an interesting few months for the last 2 years, right? Almost 2 years. Anyway, so yeah, so I was up on the ridge and did a video up there. I was up there Monday night, and it was great. Kind of feeling a lot of stress and stuff. And I mean, I went there to unstress, right? But I felt as though it, you know, I'm sure that the friends and stuff that I know that are sort of really focused on this, on the madness of it, and it just wears you out, right? Just wears you out, and it feels like, oh, I can't fight this anymore. But for me, like, I take a nice walk up the mountain, sleep overnight, come down. I mean, for sure, it brings the stress level down, but also importantly, I feel like it bolsters my. Hey, look at the tanks. Look, there's a leak. Hang on a sec. What someone's done is they've basically jammed the pipe. It's leaking right there, right? So they jammed it in with a couple of pegs just to hold it fast until someone can come and fix it. Because, you know, what they'll do is there's a valve there, they'll just stop that and let it dry, then glue it in, probably. Not a difficult job, actually. In the olden days, when I first got here, there was a part of the pipe along the road that I'm sure I repaired 20 times over a few years. Because cars kept running over it, the damn thing, right? So you look at it and there's all these different chunks and stuff, and that's all me, right? Because at the time, I was the only one using the water from there down. I could have waited for the people that take care of that, but just do it myself, you know, pretty easy and faster. So anyway, I felt like coming back from the ridge. I went, okay, I'm up for the fight again, you know. Yeah. So what are some notable things I saw this week? Oh yeah, Robert Malone, Peter McCulloch, Matthias Desmet, and Tommy, I don't know his last name. They did a great talk, you know, together, and it was nice to get those three together because Malone and McCulloch, he got that Celts, eh? McCulloch, Malone, Irish. See, the Irish were fighting, eh? We're in for a fight. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, they've been talking about this idea of mass formation, right? And one interesting thing is for sure Malone's been saying it, and maybe McCulloch, I don't know, but they've been using the term mass formation psychosis, and Desmet said you have to be careful using the psychosis term because that's a medical term and it's not really applicable. So they both took note of that, and I have to say all of them were really wonderful to listen to, and the respect they showed each other and everything, you know. It was really great. Just so nice. Yep. Anyway, and then at the end they said, because Malone was on Joe Rogan, right? 3 hours of Robert Malone with Joe Rogan. It was just brilliant. It was so good. Anyway, they ended it saying you got to get Matthias Desmet up on Joe Rogan. I agree with that. That would be a really interesting few hours, I'll tell you. Yeah, and what else was going? Oh yeah, no, I think it was Toby Rogers did a great piece on the sort of the development of kind of a religious sense of things, you know, and in the whole, I guess this ties into the mass formation thing and the whole creating a religion out of the response to COVID, whether it be vaccines or like lockdowns or whatever, you know, masks, whatever, right? Like the masks show that that's why my mom and I call them burkas or burk. Actually, we just say burka now. Okay, Mom, we better put our burkas on when we're at the mall, right? Like, just call it what it is, right? Like a piece of cloth over your face doing nothing for a virus that's small, right? Nothing. But it's, you know, showing that you're compliant, right? That's really a burqa. That's all burqas are. Because burqas are quite practical too, right? Just like a mask could be practical. Like, you know, as they say, like the medical N95 perfectly sealed. Okay, fair enough, right? It's gonna help. But no one's doing that. No one's doing the full medical thing. So anyway, so that's why we call them burqas or merkas. Merka's kind of fun though. Mask and burqa together. Anyway, so there was that thing about the whole religious aspect of it, and I gotta say, I've been seeing that for quite a while. And when one friend back in Toronto said, "Oh, Kathleen, you have to get the vaccine or else, so you don't die," I'm like, Jesus, like. So I got to say something, you know, droll and witty, right? So I thought about it, but you know, immortality is not my thing, really. Thanks very much. But then I said, you know, you guys all sound like you're in a cult, right? And it does sound like that, right? Because everyone's going, yay! Like they're on Facebook, yay! I got my booster. Look at me. It's like you're in a cult. That's, you know what I mean? Anyway. So you can see that I'm sure. Well, if you've gotten this far, anyway, whether you agree with me or not, whatever, but to me it's pretty easy to see how down a rabbit hole this mess could go so easily, right? So if you're in Canada and you're showing your little virtue signaling vaccine passports to go to a restaurant, and it has a little sign, no vax, no eating, change that from that no vax to no, you know, the people that were discriminated against back in the 30s in, you know, Central Europe, as in Germany. I'm not gonna even name it in case I get blocked out. But y'all know who I'm talking about. Think about that, and that's what's going on. Exactly the same. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Anyway, off I go. I have to do some work on this guitar I'm working on. I'm just starting on the French polish actually. Just put a layer of shellac down, and now I'm going to do the grinding with the pumice. Pumice porphyll on it. And yeah, it's going to be ready pretty soon. Like I said, I'm going to let it sit for a month and play it and just make sure that that bridge with the wood that I've never used before works okay. I did string it up and it seems great. It seems excellent. The weight is good. The bridge is like 25 grams, which is right in, you know, 20 to 28 grams I think is good. Lower for flamenco maybe? And it's classical. Anyway, so let me know if you want it. I'd probably be willing to sell it to you. Okay? After I play it for a month, so I can have fun with it. Okay, à la prochaine. See you later.